The Dozier School for Boys in Florida is a classic example of the banality of evil present in humans. The school was opened under the name Florida State Reform School in 1900. For more than 100 years, students at the school faced horrible violence in a building that they called the White House. Human archaeologists have examined the school thoroughly, looking for any signs of the horrors which haunted the past of the school, and they found them.
The Dozier School was 1,400 acres of hell. The school was segregated by race with white and black people on different sides of the campus. In 1929, the school constructed an 11-room building for the students that could not be controlled. Each room had 2 cells, one for a black student and one for a white. These students and teachers called this the White House. Kids would be taken here for beating or to be put in solitary confinement for misbehaving or fighting. When corporal punishment got banned, the school then used the building as storage. And in 2008, they decided to seal the building off completely in response to the horrific beatings that went on in the building decades ago. The north side of the campus had a cemetery on Boot Hill. Many of these graves were unmarked, and reports of deaths for the boys were lacking. 55 students' remains were found, including some outside the boundary of the cemetery. After the report in 1990, they closed the north side of the campus permanently.
Without a doubt, there were some real tragedies at the Dozier School for Boys in Florida, but what we really need to do when we get down to the science of it is find the bodies of the kids and artifacts and all these things that can tell us the real story that paintings on the wall really can't tell us. With these modern archaeological techniques, such as modern power equipment with excavators, radar equipment, cadaver sniffing dogs, and ultrasonic sensing, we were allowed to find the previously undiscovered bodies, artifacts, and other trinkets, doodads, gizmos, and things that might tell us the story of the school like we don't know it, but we haven't known it before. The process was difficult. A lot of people didn't want us digging up the past, especially something so connected to the legislative process of Florida and the government there. People didn't want us digging up this past, but we pushed through, and with the help of the governor of Florida, he took down all the red tape that was stopping us, and we were really able to give these bodies peace and let their stories be discovered. We used this radar equipment and dogs, the cadaver sniffing dogs, which a cadaver is a body, to find over 31 unmarked graves and bodies. And this was a complete revelation because we didn't know the extent of what these boys had to go through, but many of these had broken ribs, even a cracked skull, missing teeth, and actually, most disturbingly, some of the rib cages were riddled with shotgun pellets. It's quite disturbing. It was a hard find for us, but we pushed through, and I think we were able to discover a lot about this school and help those who did not make it out and those who did.
In 2008, following reports from numerous students at the school, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigated Dozier to find out who was responsible for the graves, who was buried, and to find out who caused their deaths. Interestingly, there's no concrete physical evidence of abuse taking place in the White House, despite numerous past students having stories of being beaten there. Perhaps this is due to efforts by the school administration to eliminate any incriminating evidence from the room, such as traces of blood. Additionally, some students have come forward with accusations of sexual abuse by school administrators, though there's also no conclusive evidence to prove this. In its findings report, the United States Department of Justice said that staff used excessive force on youth, including prone restraints, sometimes in off-camera areas not subject to administrative review. Youth were often disciplined for minor infractions through inappropriate uses of isolation and extensions of confinement for punishment and control. Staff were not appropriately trained to address the safety of suicidal youth and were often dismissive of suicidal behaviors. And the safety of Dozier youth was compromised as a result of their relocation to JJOC, a more restrictive and punitive environment. Additionally, the government said that the state failed to provide necessary and appropriate rehabilitative services to address addiction, mental health, or behavioral needs, which serve as a barrier to the youth's ability to return to the community and not reoffend.